जा रहे तो कूदेल पर थी से पतंग पकड़ के तो गिर रही छंदा एक गरियाल नहीं आने बोलता है हमको का मालिक कर बेटा तेले हम मिस्त्रियान गिर गिरा तो का करी पतंग से कूदेल नहीं गिरी जगह कौन सी जगह नहीं लगा तो हाथ पर कट जाता है कहाँ में लोहा में ओ से करे गरिया आता है और दीवार लगा कूदेल तो धर के नहीं कूदेल बेटा ओके उड़ाए रहा जो
Good morning. Let's get started in few minutes.
कल पढ़ाती कल पढ़ाया है 10 बजे
What is this? Where is my remote? Good morning. Okay, stop.
जाओ कंप्यूटर लग दो रात को तो नहीं करती 11 बजे तक सोती फिर भी
Thanks a lot. Actually my brother asked me to get this hairstyle. He never liked my hairs. He was like, what kind of hairstyle are you following? So yeah, there's a barber in Hyderabad. I got it from Hyderabad. Yeah. Thank you Vivek. So let's wait for a few minutes. Let's everyone to join. How many of you are in the area of India where it's very cold right now? Like Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan? H. Ankit, Kushal, Aradhya. Yeah. Thank you, Kushal. Thank you for the compliment. Yeah. Yes. Himachal Pradesh. Oh my God, Ankit, how is the weather in Himachal Pradesh? Which part of Himachal Pradesh are you from, Ankit? Ankit Kumar. Shimla is 3 hours from. Oh my God, how is the weather? I mean, right now it will be so cold there. I was thinking of visiting Himachal Pradesh this time. This year Delhi is colder than Shimla. Oh, is that so? Oh, that's interesting. Why is that so? Like due to pollution, fog or something? Or I don't know. Ideally Shimla should be colder. Okay, it was a newspaper. Hyderabad is experiencing some. That is true, Ekta. Ekta, you had a issue that was not resolved. Can you talk about it? Do you want to unmute? Do you want to unmute yourself? I think I can. We have few minutes before everyone joins, so maybe I can just talk to you. Saturday classes are more laid back because there are very few students, so I can just so I can spend a lot of time discussing doubts. But then what happens is there are so many students, so I have to move the class also. So, but on Saturday this is the special class because there are not that many students, so I can just spend more time on individual doubts. Simla is 6. Where I live, it is 10 degree. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah, I'll unmute Ekta. Yes, Ekta. Hello. Hello. Just give me one.
Am I
Yeah.
audible? Sure.
Yes, you are audible. You are audible. Tell me.
So, sir, actually, I couldn't attend the last few classes, and but I watched some recordings, not all of it. Like my notification service app is in a separate folder, but like it's in parallel with the CRM app. So, notification service app is like running independently. It's running fine. But from the class where we integrated both these apps, there is some sort of, I don't know, like I'm missing on some point because whenever I try to run both of them, so both the servers should be like running parallelly, right? Like, yeah. So first I run this notification service. Then on port 3000 I run the CRM app. But it always says that the recipient is not there is no recipient. And you know what happened in the from field? I had provided my email address, and it too like. I also gave engineers and customers some imaginary, some sample email IDs. So, like in my inbox, there are like hundreds of unsent mail. It says that this service, like we cannot find this mail address, and it's written in some other language. And for a second, I thought that, oh my god, is my like email ID hacked or something? So, because I kept that server running, this notification service, I did not shut down my laptop. This was running the whole night, I guess. So something weird happened.
Okay. So, which port is the notification service running on?
Sir, the notification service runs on 5000, port 5000.
Port 5000. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is the HTTP client set up properly? Have you seen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like,
in the HTTP client that is set up in the CRM backend, have you set up it properly? Have you checked the code in that?
Yes, sir. Like, it's pretty basic. Like, yeah, it's running on port 3000. So it always ran like properly only. But I don't know why. I'm guessing like, is it due to some folder hierarchy? Because yours is so like, how do you create your folders? Like 12, like do you clone it from GitHub and again give it some other name?
What do you?
Because every time you push.
No, so the way I create is so the first folder that I created was an empty folder. Okay, and in that folder I just do npm init, and that creates the basic structure. That was the first folder. Okay. So when I was creating notification service, I did the same process. I did npm init. It created a bare basic folder, and then I started building on top of it. Okay. As long as there will not be much difference if these are two different folders. There will be a folder for notification, and there will be a folder for CRM. Okay. That should not be the problem. Notification service will be running on a port on your computer. Let's say it is running on 5000. So first thing you need to check is this service listening properly? Try to go to Postman and try to see, when you run both the services in parallel, can you send requests to the notification service?
It's like I tried creating some notifications manually, like we did in that notification service class, and it was okay. Like
it was working.
It was working fine. Yes.
Yeah, it is working. So this is first place where code can break. Okay.
Okay.
Second place where code can break is in the CRM app. There is something called as notification client. Have you coded this part up? Notification.
Yes, sir. Like also, I checked it twice or thrice from your like GitHub repo. Okay. I was comparing each and every line.
Okay. Notification client. Notification client should be coded properly, because this is the place from which will be like Postman for CRM app. Okay.
The notification client.
The notification client is the coded version of coding version of Postman. Okay. Whatever you can do with Postman can be done with notification client.
Right, sir.
Now, then what is the error you are getting? Can you read it out?
Sure, sir. Just give me a second, so I'll run both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. So one thing that I want you to develop as a habit is being able to talk about your code. Like sometimes you feel like it is easier to share the screen and show the code and show the errors and then work from there. But what I want you to do is I want you to develop some kind of vocabulary about the whole thing. Okay. So because when you are in industry or when you meet the client, you will have to talk about the code. You cannot bring the code base to them. You will just have presentation or some things. So yeah. So these processes where I'm asking you to explain your code is where you can practice that. Okay.
Right. So I'm guessing like there is some glitch in the code itself, because like rest all are working fine. Like I'm getting the output in the terminal because I'm consoling some of the parts.
Yeah.
So so it says that recipient is not found. I think it is some very silly mistake. But since I missed the live classes, I was only watching recordings.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. What is the error you are getting? Can you read it out?
Sure. So I think in the notification client itself, we are printing the count of notification and everything, right?
No, not in notification client. Okay. Let me show you my code. Just give me 1 second.
So
Yeah. So this is the code. This is the CRM app. There is a utility called as notification client. Okay.
Yes.
This is a simple utility which can create a post to whatever local host your notification server is running. Make sure that this URL is proper. Like you should have 5,000 here if you're running it on 5,000.
Yes, sir. Like I copied it from the route folder from the notification service itself. So I checked it, but don't know what's going wrong. So sir, this folder is like this file is intact there. I compared. There is this crons folder in the notification service app. I think over there we are printing a message. Cron.js.
Yeah, okay.
Here we are printing.
Yeah, cron.js. Let's look at this one. Okay.
Yes.
So what is happening is so what you need to do is you need to check if you need to go one step at a time. Don't try to jump here and there. The flow starts from notification client. Okay. From notification client, you can send a request to your whatever notification service is running. Try to send a dummy request. How do you create a dummy request? Right here. Right here. So just give me 1 second. Let me call this exports dot. I don't want to call it anything. Okay. So here, what you're going to do, module dot exports and pass some values here. Okay. So I can pass 1, 2, 3 and maybe a subject which is hello. And maybe a content which is also test. Email IDs maybe pass Anshul at gmail.com and requester maybe ekta at gmail.com. Okay. Write this kind of a line here and test if your client is working. Don't do anything else. Run your CRM. Don't run your CRM app. Just run your notification service, and then come to this place. Okay, come to this place, and what you need to do is go to this folder. So I'll just go to this folder CD 15, and in this folder you can just do node utils, and then you can run notification client. Once you run this file, this will go. Okay. This will go. Okay. And now once you send it to the server, it will say that throw error unhandled. which is cannot connect, connection refused on this because the service is not running. Okay.
Okay.
So now I have a clear handle over whether my notification client, this error is coming. You can read this error. It says that service is not running. Okay, connection refused. Can you run similar line of code in your notification client?
Sure, sir. Sure. I'll put that dummy request there.
Yeah, please put a dummy request, and that will give you a handle over whether your notification client is working or not. It looks like it is correct, but try to see if it is working. Once that is working, then you can work for the other cases. You can go to the controllers, and then you can see where you are calling the notification client. So, for example, this controller has, let me see, or not auth controller, ticket controller. Ticket controller has notification client as send email.
Yeah.
And now this send email is being called at two places. Later on, you can do that. You don't jump into this place right now. Try to work from the notification client itself and see if this is working properly. Okay? Sure.
Yeah, I'll just.
You understand the overall. If you understand the overall setup, then it will be very easy to debug. Because because the debugging process is, if you know the flow of data, data starts from CRM controller. Okay.
Yeah.
Controller. It goes to something called as notification service, notification client. From notification client, it goes to the port on which your notification service is listening. Okay. Notification service. It basically goes to the router of notification service. From notification service router, it goes to the notification controller. And from the controller, it goes to the model. And from the model, it goes to cron job keeps on checking the model again and again. So this is the flow. Now, what you're saying when you say that your notification service is working fine, you're saying this whole part is working fine. And I take your word on that. Like I have to take your word that this part is working. Okay. Now, where can error occur? You also know that CRM controller is working, or maybe it's not working. You don't care. The key place where you have to check is from this notification client to this server. Are the requests going properly? That's all.
Okay, sir.
This is the place where error can occur. Okay. That's how you're. So try to think it like a big machine that you're working on, and try to pinpoint where the error might be occurring. Okay.
Yes, sir. So I think there is some there's either a spelling mistake. Like somewhere I'm giving a camel case, or somewhere I'm just giving some capital words. So I think that could be the case, and it has happened a lot of times with me. So I'll just try to debug. I'll compare go through each and every.
Yeah,
it is very silly.
Yeah, that's okay. The best way to debug is not to create errors in the first place.
Yes, right.
No worries. Okay. I hope this was helpful. You can also in the next class, if try to do it. If not, you have my mobile number. You can just give me a video call and we'll figure it out.
Sure, sir. So one last thing, like I tried to push both these for notification service and CRM app on GitHub. The notification service got pushed, but there is some problem with pushing this. I think since it is kind of dependent on this notification service.
You have created a repository inside a repository, or is it?
No, sir. See, I'll tell you. There is one parent folder called CRM application, and within that I have 4 folders. One is CRM app. One is our notification service, one is practice, and one is testing CRM. So let's leave practice and testing CRM. I haven't done anything with these two. So I have pushed a notification service, and yeah.
So this is a Git repository?
Yes, sir.
And this is a Git repo?
2 separate Git repositories.
Okay. And is this also a Git repo?
No, sir, not the parent one.
So what I want you to do, Okay, that's okay. Yeah. So when you push CRM app, what is the error you are getting?
Sir, I think there is some problem with my internet, or is it your side?
What happened? I'm able to hear you. What happened?
No, sir. Now I'm able to hear you.
Okay.
It got it froze for a second.
Okay. What is the CRM app when you do git push in CRM app? What is the error you are getting?
Sir, I think your video is stuck.
Is my video stuck, students? Hello? Okay. No, it's not stuck. Ekta?
Yes, sir. Now it's fine.
Okay. What is the error you are getting when you do git push?
So 1 second. I'll try doing it again.
Huh?
Just 1 second.
Sure.
Failed to push some reference to this address. Updates were rejected because the remote contains work that you do not have locally. This is usually caused by another repository pushing to the same reference. So wait, let me check. Yeah.
Okay. So you are keeping a single repository on the. So you have a single repository which is pointed from both of them on GitHub.
So I'll check because I remember like yesterday itself. Yes, so there are two separate repositories.
Okay.
Like notifications service.
Okay. Let me see. GitHub repository. How do I copy this? Ekta 30. Okay, I'll just go to insert out. GitHub. Let me share my screen first. And those of you who are thinking this is a wastage of time, your time because it's not your error, try to spend some more time on thinking how you can learn from this from other people's error. This is Ekta 30.
Yes, that one.
Okay, sure. So you have Ekta 30. This is IPython notebook. These are just where is the repository? View GitHub profile. Okay, repositories. And in this you have notification service app and CRM app. Okay, seems good. Notification service app contains node modules, etc. Branches. This is the main branch. Okay. And you have CRM app. This has
just one branch.
Yeah, it's branches issues. Seems to be correct. I don't see why it is not coming.
So, like as much as I know, after building the notification service app, in the CRM app, we have made only two changes. The first one is in controllers. We are doing send email.
Yeah.
And the second one is like in the UTs folder, we have created a notification client. So I don't think other than that we have made any changes in the routes or middleware.
Yeah. I mean, that should not be. There's some problem with the Git. It's not the problem with the CRM app as such. Some Git setting has a problem on your computer. That's my hunch.
So I'm thinking like why not make another repository and try to push it in that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's completely fine.
So I'll do that, and I'll also check for that error. Why is it saying no recipient?
Yeah, try to understand what that error means. Okay.
So I'll try to trace it down. Okay, thank you so much, sir. I think we should start with the class.
Sure. Okay, I hope this was a helpful
sir. Thank you
for
so much.
everyone. Not just Ekta, but everyone. Try to learn. Ekta was very good at explaining what are the errors she was facing. Many of the times, it's half of the problem solved if you can address, if you can talk about your error. So now I want to talk about one thing that I can. Okay, Ekta, probably you have muted. I want to talk about this called. Have you heard about this thing coding duck? Have you ever heard about this concept of coding duck?
So, like you're asking everyone in general? Or?
Yeah. I cannot unmute. I cannot mute you, Ekta. So, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just.
Yeah. So you can. Yeah. So, have you heard about coding duck? Okay. So, this is a practice. This is like a ritual. This is an initiation ritual that many companies have. So, when you join them, they give you a duck, a toy duck, which is a small duck of this size. I also have that one duck, but it's in Hyderabad. I got it in one of my companies. So what happened was, and you keep it on your desk, and whenever you face a error, thank you. Whenever you face an error, you try to explain that error to the duck. And it is found that 80% of the errors go away if you just talk to the duck, if you can explain the error to the duck. Okay? That is called as coding duck. It's a duck. It's a small toy which you can explain things. Okay? Why duck? Because because if it was lion, you will get scared and you will not explain. I don't know. It is just you know how rituals are. There's not reasonable assumption why they are there. Maybe the first coder decided to go with duck, and since then everyone has been going with ducks. So yeah. So in many companies, when you go and join, the first thing they give you is the coding duck, so that it saves everyone's time. You have to explain it to the duck before explaining. How duck will solve the error? Just like talking to yourself in front of him. A duck does not do anything. Duck just sits there, and you have to. So suppose I have this small this one I got from Shimla. So I have this small creature on my computer on my desk, and if I see a error, I try to explain it to somebody else. When you're talking to yourself, it's very difficult to explain coding errors. But when you talk to a third party, it's much easier to explain and be reasonable. So that's what this concept of coding duck is about. Coding duck does not ask a question. It is just a toy. You just tell it's the error. Is a practice for better explanation? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is all about. Explain it to some creature, and so this is also one lesson in public speaking. There was this orator who was very shy of speaking to people, and he did all kinds of he enrolled in all kinds of programs, and he was not able to get the confidence. But one day he just went to and we will tell him the error, and we'll explain in clear terms what are the error, and 90% of the times we will get the solution on our own. We'll understand where the solution might be from. Okay, so it's just the process of vocalizing your code, okay, putting it in words. Many of the times it's so abstract, it's all in your head and you are not able to solve the problem. But if you explain it to a duck, for example, you can understand where you are going wrong, what is the problem in your thinking. So there was this orator, and he was not able to speak in public. He had a big fear of public speaking. So what he did was he went to a small graveyard or some place, and there were a lot of stones there lying there. It was like a bunch of stones, and he started to speak to the stones. Okay, and he was making speeches to the stones. After making 4 or 5 speeches to the stones, he got some confidence, and later on he became a very good orator because he was able to whenever he went in front of audience, he was thinking he is speaking to stones, and suddenly he was a very good orator. Okay, so that's the concept of speaking to inanimate objects. Okay, the brain ideally does not understand that you are speaking to an inanimate object, and that can be helpful. Okay, so let's start the class. So first thing first, I'll create another folder, which is a very good practice. I feel very good about the fact that I create a folder in every class. It's such a clean design. So I just go here and I copy this folder and I paste it outside.
कॉलेज में स्कूल में डांस किए थे कहना से हम
Okay, I have a question. How many of you like these classes more than the DSA classes? Is there somebody who is liking these classes more than the DSA classes? Avijit is not liking this. Gauri, Ekta, Aradhya. Yes. I've never taught these classes before, but I am somehow enjoying this because we are getting some in DSA. There is always a feeling that we are not getting any real work done. Uh, this class gives us a feeling that we can do some real applicable work. So that's where I like this. But yeah, it's just. But there is a submit button. That is true. But again, like there is a submit button, but and many times we feel like we are not doing any work. Like we are just so for like 2-3 years in my teaching career, I was just thinking people are paying me for playing around with concepts. There was no real work I was doing, but here I'm thinking, okay, I'm at least doing some real work. Okay, anyways, so okay, and this is easier to understand. Like this is more human part of computer science, I would say, because in DSA it is very ruthless. The concepts are sometimes so difficult that you need a certain amount of IQ to understand those concepts. But here it is still human. People, I mean, normal people can code it up. You don't have to be a intellectual giant to solve the problems. Yeah, created the folder for lecture 16. Commit to main. I like this UI better than. I would ideally want to switch to GitHub CLI, but I like this UI better than. I'm still not. I'm still not at a level where I can do the GitHub thing using the CLI or using the command line. Okay, so I prefer this UI. Ideally, in few years or maybe few months, I will be at a place where I can directly do from CLI. But for the time being, I'll just go with GitHub Desktop. Okay. Are you using Windows 11? Yes, I'm using Windows 11, and I am very ashamed of that fact. I will be switching to. I'm getting a new laptop, so I will be switching to Debian very soon. Yeah. Please guide me to do the same. Yes, I'll definitely. Once I do, I'll share some. I'll share some resources with the class on. Maybe I'll ask, but I don't know how I will take that class. I'm not sure how I will take a class, but I ideally want to take a class where I help you set up a machine where you are with Linux, and I want to initialize you all to Linux development, which is a totally different place to develop. Like you will be 10x better at coding just by switching to Linux and understanding how that computer works. Okay, so yeah, but I don't know how I will take that class. I have to think about this. I can share some resources. Maybe on Tuesday. No, taking an extra class is not a problem. Taking the key thing is maybe I can restructure one of the classes. That's not a problem. The problem is how will we? How am I? So if we were in a offline class in a classroom, I would have walked around and help you out with the errors that you're facing while you're installing the Linux. But I don't know how I will help in this setting, because most of you will have a single computer which will be booting through the process, and I don't know how I will help you out with that process. So yeah. I'm still to think about that part. Okay, so today we are going to talk about few things. Let me set that agenda. First thing that I'm thinking of talking about is, of course, the user controller test. There's one find all operation which is missing. Let me put the mic close to my mouth. There's one find all operation which is missing. I will do that, and we'll also have a ticket controller. We have some ticket controller tests that we have to write. I'll write that down, and then I also want to do integration tests. So there's a lot of things that I want to cover in today's class. I don't know how much I will be able to do, but so in the interest of time, would you mind if I just copy paste the code for find all and explain it? The code is almost same. Yes, because it's very repetitive. So I'll just copy paste the code and I'll explain the code. Let's see if we can make sense of it. So here's the code. So these are the 10 test cases that are there in find all. We have 5 test cases for each of the working conditions. So if I open the controller for user and I look at find all, there are 5 lines that are happening. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I want to test the failure and the success condition in all 5 of them. And that's all I'm doing here. I have should pass, which is should pass for all, should pass with user status, should pass with user type, should pass with user type and status, should pass with name. So all 5 cases are covered in the 8 test cases that I am writing. Similarly, for each one of these, I have a fail condition. Okay? And these are the 5 fail conditions that I have. Let's look at one should pass. How should pass? So I'm doing a find all. In the find operation, I'm returning the payload that I have, and I'm just the query is an empty object, of course, and this query is the empty object, which is basically telling what all filters you are putting. And then what you do is you do the basic operations. You check that user spy has been called. You check that the status is 200 and that the send value is this. So very simple should pass is there. If I look at now keep this in mind. Let me put this in the next line. Keep this code in mind. Okay. I can keep this code in mind, and let's look at how will should fail look like. Should fail is also a similar code, but this time I'm sending an error. Okay. Find is sending an error, and whenever there is an error, you should get 500 as the status, and some internal error occurred is the message you should get. Let me see if this is the same message I am also sending. Some internal error occurred. Yes. So this is correct. So that's how the fail looks like. And now similarly, we'll have all the other options. The only thing that will change in all other options is this line, request.query. Okay. What will happen in the case of user status? You will have a field called as user status, and rest of the code will remain same. So look at this code again. You are defining a spy on user find, and you are just seeing if it is giving you the right answer. Here you are going to have a query which says I'm looking for the person who are approved. Rest of the code stays the same. You can match the code also. It is exactly the same. We're just having a query which is the status is approved. Similarly, there is user type, and in this case you will have a user type as the query. You following? So you have a user type as the query, and rest of the code remains the same. You pass a user type and everything else is same. Okay. Finally, you have user type and status. Again, the overall structure is same. User type and status. And in user type and status, you will send the user type and user status. Like this. Save it. And find all. You call the find all operation. It is the same item that you are getting all the time. And then you have this. And by name is in query, you will write the name. Whatever name you have given, you will write that. And the same is, and the reverse of this is also going to be in the case of fail. In each of these fail cases, the only difference is going to be in this line where you are sending a promise of reject new error. Okay, so that's how these fail will be. So if you look at the fail with user type and you compare it with fail with user type, let's compare it. So fail with user type and compare it with not should fail. Compare it with user type. Look at these two codes. This is first code. I wish I can combine them into one, or maybe I can open it. Just give me one. Yeah, that is what I was thinking. Split on the right. Okay, I'll remove this, and I'll move this. Should fail on type. Should pass on type and should fail on type. Look at these two codes. I want to somehow. Would you mind if I just keep the font a little small, because otherwise I'll not be able to show. If I can reduce the font, it is. I somehow want to remove this minimap. I don't want to see. Okay. User type failed with user type. Pass with user type. Word wrap. Word wrap will mess up the whole experience. Just give me 1 second. This should be okay. This is not the best solution, but it is okay. Annoying that. Oh, can we remove that annoying that thing? What is that? Which annoying that thing? The mini map. Are you there? Yeah, I have removed the mini map. I also want to remove the 9 numbers. Let me see if I can remove that. Where is view? I'll remove the line numbers for editor layout. No, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, you can remove that. I also come to know about it right now only. Okay, the only difference between these two codes, like this is exactly the same. This line is different. These two lines are different because you are getting a separate error, but rest of the code is same. This is the result that you are getting. These two lines are different because the result you are getting is different, and the request you are sending is exactly the same in both the cases. The only difference is the spy on is different. In the first case, when the case is passing, the spy on is actually sending a valid payload, whereas in the case where user spy is failing, you are sending an error. And that is, if you can code one of these, then all the others you can easily code. Okay. There's a lot of code duplication that people are doing in test cases. I typically don't like that, but yeah, I don't like this. But if you don't do duplication, you will end up writing the controller again. So we don't do that. Ideally, we can have the same piece of code written across multiple instances. That will clean up the code, but yeah, it can clean up the code, but I'm not sure whether that will be a good design principle. Anyways, let me save this. So that's how you can write the will pass. That's how you can write the find all describe. Okay. Now I'll come back to this. I'll increase the font size and I'll open the chat window. I'll hide this. This one should be hidden. And right now I should be in. Wait a second. Do cd dot dot. I want to go to 16. No. 16. Testing CRM 3. And in this I can just do npm. First of all, I have to do npm install. And then I can do npm test. Let's see, these test cases are passing also. 5 test cases failed. Okay, these are the 5 test cases which failed. Let's see why they are failing. Oh, I'm writing this error thing wrong. This error thing is wrong. This should be log. So I'll just come. This should be log. And this should be log. And this should be log. This should be log. This should be log. Am I writing error somewhere else? Console.log. So I'll save this and I'll just run the code again. Why is this failing? Should fail with user type and status. For each. Oh, I got this. You know why this error is occurring again? This is occurring again because all these cases in all these cases, we are not waiting for user. We are sending the user without this one. So what you need to do is you need to copy this. You need to Control X this, and you need to paste it here. Similarly, here also, you need to Control X this, and you need to paste it here. Control X it, and paste it here, and you need to Control X this, paste it here, and Control X this, and paste it here. Save this and run it one more time. Why is this failing? Failed with name, failed with user type, and user response. This is failing in each of them. Should fail in user type. First of all, let me check if I'm doing it in the right folder. I'm doing it in the right folder. And I have to come here and write something like if users, then only run this code. Yeah. Means that if user is undefined, which is the case when there's an error, if the user is undefined, we don't want to run this. And these are the errors that you have to catch once you will catch once you write the test cases. Yeah, now everything is passing. The reason why this was occurring was, look at the code. For example, fetch by status. I defined a user, and there was an error. So I get into the catch block. I send back the result, and then I send an undefined value back. Okay, which is I'm not sending anything. Once I don't send anything, this line of code was still running, and it sent an undefined value for the user to be given as the user response, which is not acceptable. So what happens is the code fails. So that's do you understand what happened? There were a couple of mistakes in the code. Yes, Aradhya, I'll explain it one more time. First mistake was this return user was coming after the catch block. So what is the difference between this the previous code and this code? Can you guess it? What is the difference between the two uses? Let me show it to you. I think this is a mistake that you might be making sometime. So uh, let me create a test file. Let me create a random utility. Let me just write as random.js. And in this utility, if catch block execute, then no, the code will move forward with the catch block. If you go into the catch block, you will do this and then you will move forward after the catch block. Yeah. So no, it's not like you are waiting for the error to occur. You are still sending the value even when the error occurred. Yeah, that's the better way of looking at it. Okay. So it's not like if catch block occurs, you come out of the code itself. So I'll show it to you. So for example, try. I'll define a function. Let's call it const random. This is a async function. Async function from empty to this one. In this, I do try. I'll define a let user outside. Let user, and user is equal to await. Let's call it users. Await user dot, no, not this one. User, what are the options? No, I'll come here and write const user is equal to require models slash user model. Okay. Now what you can do is in the user dot find, you can find everything. Okay. This is the operation you have. And there's a catch block or an error. You should get an error. Let's have the error as console.log error. And then what you have is return users. Okay. Now let's do test case. So console.log random. Let me call the random function. And right now I'm not connected to the server. With the server is not running actually. So if I just save this and if I run, I come here and no, control C this one. Yes. I'll just close this part. Why is my cursor not coming? Anyways, I'll just do node util random. I run this. Random. Sorry, I'll just do it like this. Random dot then console dot log. I save this and I come here and run it one more time. Let's see what it is returning. Okay, so Let me define user as ABC. Save it. Let me run one more time. Why is this not running it? Let me do console.log users. It got into catch block. No. I'm not able to understand. Okay, let me start from the starting. Let me come here and do console.log users. Let me do this simple thing. ABC is printed. So we are in the right trajectory. Now I copy this. Wait, user not fine. I'll just write another promise. User is not running right now, so ideally should give an error. I'll just write it like await promise dot resolve. Check. Okay. See what happened? Let me remove this. My user gave an error. Let me run this one more time. Now, don't worry about the user thing, but let me save this. Okay. I created a user ABC. I changed it value to a error. This threw an error. I printed the error in console.log, and then I console log the user. Let me remove this also. Save it. And what value is returned by this asynchronous function? Whatever value was there before the try catch block. Do you see that? Which is ABC. Okay. So it is as if this try catch block was not even present. Aradhya, does that make sense? Aradhya? Does this code make sense? You have a network issue? Okay, try to look at this code once. Abhijit, are you there in the class? I think yesterday you were asking this question. Yes. Do you understand what is happening in this code, and can you relate it to the user controller that we have? You cannot relate it to user controller? Look at the user controller. If I write this return user outside this catch block, what am I essentially returning? I'm returning undefined, because that was the, if there is an error in user.find, that then I'm returning whatever was the value before the try block. Does that make sense? Yeah, it is returning, yes. So what you need to do is, you need to put this inside the try block, so that this only gets executed when the user is found. So I show it to you now in this random. So I don't want to return what was the initial value. So I cut from here, and yeah, we were doing right before, yes. And we are putting it here. And now, if there is an error, instead of doing console.log, I can just return the error. See what is going to happen now. Now it is not going to print ABC. It is going to print error, because error is what you are returning. If instead of reject, I create resolve, and inside the resolve, I have a function, I can resolve to any value. Let's say resolve it to user values. Now what can you guess what will be the output? Aradhya? What will be the output if I run the code? Exactly, very good. Now you got it. ABC is the output. So that is what I wanted you to understand out of this controller. That was the wrong programming that I was doing. Okay. So now all our test cases are passing. Vivek, are you following? Are you able to follow? So one of the coding principles that people follow is to have a, so if you are coding in Python, people or even when you're coding in JavaScript, what you can do is you can keep a small window of just click F11. No, what is that? Inspect. Just keep a console open all the time whenever you are coding in JavaScript, and keep on testing your assumptions about the code. Try to run these kind of experiments on the code and try to test your assumptions. Okay. So there are three windows that you necessarily want to be open all the time when you're coding. First is, of course, the code window in which you're coding. Second is a window where you have a console, so you can test small snippets of codes. And third is a terminal. A terminal should always be open, so you can directly run the big code. Okay. So that was the find all test case. Now let's look at last part of this class, which is second last part. Then there will be routers, there will be integration tests that we have to do. We'll go into integration tests, but let's spend some time looking at the test cases for ticket controller. So ticket controller test cases for this one. Let me write it as ticket dot controller dot test dot js. How does this look like? So for all function, return user should come in try block, right? Yes, exactly, Hariharan. It should come in the try block. Let's look at the boilerplate, which is mock request, mock response. These things should be equal to require interceptor And there are a couple of functions that we need. Let me write all of them. You need create ticket. You need get all. You need get one ticket. And update. And I'll just put a equal to in the next line. I'll require, for this I'll require controller slash, no, not this one. Controllers slash ticket controller. Get all the functions from the ticket controller. Let me check if these are the names in the ticket controller. First is create ticket. Second is can update is not an export. Update ticket, get all ticket, get one ticket. Okay, these are the four functions. Create ticket, update ticket, get all ticket, get one ticket. Create ticket, get all ticket, get one ticket, and update ticket. Okay, we are good. Let me check user controller once. Okay. Okay. So we need two more things. First is the user, which is require dot slash models slash ticket dot model. First is this one. Second is const ticket, which require dot slash models slash user model. We okay, so I did something wrong. I should call this as the user, and I should call this as the ticket. Okay. And the next step would be create the payload. I'm not going to write the payload. I'm not going to write the payload by hand. I'll just paste it because that will save some time. It's a basic piece of code, so I don't see any reason for typing it. You have a user test payload, which is similar to the user test payload we have for user controller test. This test payload, you remember? We have written a test payload here. It is the exact same test payload we have in this. Second, we have ticket create test payload, which creates a ticket. Okay, a simple test payload for ticket create. When you are creating a new ticket, what all values you should send. There is a ticket test payload, which is basically what is the payload that comes back to you when you test for a ticket. Okay, so it has a save button which saves it. There is a save button in the ticket which helps you in updating the ticket. Okay, so those are the payloads. Now we are going to take a short break, and once we are back from the break, we will discuss the ticket controller test, and we'll do some not getting these three payload. Why three? Hariharan, so you have three things. You have a user model, you have a ticket model, and you have a ticket save model. Yeah, I'm going to push the code. Once I'm back from the break, I'll explain it to you in more detail, Hariharan. But basically, the idea is you have different use cases and you have payload for all of them. Once you see the use cases, it will become clear. Let me push the changes. Added the code for find all, commit to main, and push origin. Okay, so break till 36. Break till 11:36 a.m. See you at the end of the break.
रात को तो ऐसा दाल पकाई थी कि आलू को तो कुछ पत्ते नहीं चला। आलू का तो कुछ पत्ते नहीं चला। आलू का पता नहीं चला। भरता कहाँ भरता? आलू रहे कि दाल रहे? रात को बचाई थी वो, उसमें हम प्याज डाले, मिर्चा डाले, तेल डाले और आलू था। तेरी तो हम तो उसी को खा के मटिया दिए। तो उसी को खा के मटिया दिया। अच्छा हेलो, इसने पकाना रात को कैसे आज? क्या हुआ? हाँ, मनीष का टिफिन को ले जाना। वो टिफिन के ले गए खा पाएगा। कौन को? दूसरा खरीदना तुम तो टिफिन लेना दो ना, खपाने दो। ये प्लास्टिक चौर है के तक विश्वास कर